Today I'm making my version of chicken piccata, or as we call it in this house, chicken with olives and capers. My sisters joke that my kids will eat anything if there's lemon, olives, and capers on top. And yep, that's true. We love capers, we love lemons, we love olives. Put it on anything and it's a go in this house. This recipe was given to me maybe 15 years ago by my mother-in-law, and I've been making it almost every other week ever since. It's quick, it's easy, and it is so flavorful and delicious, and my kids just gobble it up to the point where they're scooping out the capers and olives onto rice and just eating it plain. It's just so delish. So here's what you're gonna need. Chicken cutlets, flour, again my parchment paper trick so I don't deal with dishes, throw this in the garbage. You need capers, olives, pitted are the best. They can be whole, they can be in rings, it doesn't matter, but green are really the best. Whole lemons, white wine, drink some if you want, and olive oil. So the first thing we're gonna do is actually just brown all our cutlets on the stove. And then we're gonna add in the rest of the stuff. So we're just gonna dredge them in a little bit of flour, and you can use any flour you have and want. Whole wheat, spelt, gluten-free, almonds, doesn't matter. We're gonna get a nice helping of olive oil in our pan. Make sure it's nice and smooshed around. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna lay them in here to fit, and I'm gonna get them all brown on all sides. They don't need a long time to cook. If you're using extra thin cutlets, they really need probably like 1 to 2 minutes on each side. You don't need them to get, you just want them to get a nice color, golden brown, and cooked on both sides all the way through. Okay, so I'm gonna get that on my stove here. I put it on a medium-high flame. I'm gonna get them all browned. I'll show you what they look like when they're browned, and we'll then add all our ingredients. And this is purely all done on the stovetop. No oven is involved, and if you guys know my saga with my oven, it breaks on me every other day, so the stovetop stays. And this is something I make constantly because it only requires the burner and not the oven. So this has been browning for about, I think, 3 minutes each side. They are a little thicker. If you see here, that's what they're gonna look like. I'm gonna flip them over. They're turning white and like a little golden. You really don't wanna make sure it doesn't burn. Flip them over and get them cooked on all sides. I'm gonna do that with the rest of my chicken, and then we're gonna keep using this pot to add in everything else. So it's also really neat and doesn't use up a lot of dishes. You basically just have this going and maybe a spoon or two to help you and put your capers and olives in. But otherwise, you got one pan and you're good to go. Just one little tip, you may need to keep adding olive oil in between the batches so they don't burn and they get nice and golden. So you see the color on these? You see them in here? I'll bring them closer. They're nice and golden and opaque looking. Okay, so I have all the chicken out. I'm keeping this fire on the flame. I'm gonna lower it to a medium flame, and we're going in for the white wine. I'm gonna say about a cup, and you're gonna get a nice big flame now. Gonna be very fancy. We're gonna let it cook down until all the alcohol cooks out. Here we go. I'm gonna turn on my oven hood for a minute. And while that's cooking down, I'm gonna go in here and scrape the bottom of the pot, and it will get up all that flavor the chicken left on the bottom, all that delicious flavor. If you have black bits in it, they little burnt, it's totally fine, but scrape it up. The good news is also you have a really clean pan when you're finished with this, but scrape up everything in there and let the wine cook out. Give it a minute or two so it's a little bit thick. I might actually add a dot more. There we go. Okay, once that's cooked out, I'm actually gonna go ahead and add the chicken right back in here. Great. I add the ones that were done first usually onto the bottom because the ones that happen later get a little bit darker in color just because the pan was already on. Okay, I'm gonna lower my flame. And now we're gonna go in with my olives. You can slice them if they're not. I'm just gonna go ahead and dump them all in. Just pour them right in. I'm gonna add capers. This is also a really as you like. If you love capers, I'm gonna use 1 heaping tablespoon, 2 heaping tablespoons of capers, And then I have lemon slices. I used 2, they were on the smaller side. I'm just gonna sprinkle them around. And there you go, you have your chicken with olives and... Okay, so now you see here my chicken's all together. The flame is on low. I'm gonna go ahead with just a piece of tin foil and I'm gonna cover this up. And I'm gonna let it just cook out, let all the flavors meld, let the olives and capers really get in there, the juices form with the lemons. And I'm gonna let that cook out for about 10 minutes, and there you go. I then sometimes reheat this later for dinner in an oven 350, and the wine gets even thicker, and the broth almost that is now the chicken is delicious and flavorful.